Well, Elon Musk's time in the U.S. government is coming to an end, but he might not be completely out for good.
Well, I expect to continue to provide advice whenever the president would like advice.
I hope so.
I expect to remain a friend and an advisor, and certainly if there's anything the president wants me to do, I'm at the president's service.
Well, for more on Musk's next chapter, let's get to Yahoo Finance's Pras Subramanian. Pras, you were listening. What did you make of that presser? What were the takeaways?
We got to rewind. I mean, the big bombshell today was the report of alleged drug use by the New York Times, more than what had been originally thought. Ketamine, mushrooms, so much ketamine that he potentially had a bladder injury. These are all reports that came out today, this morning, in the New York Times. Musk was asked about it, and he said, quote, that New York Times, referring to the New York Times that had put out a report on the Russian hoax stuff, all that stuff, he said, I'm going to move on. Let's move on. He didn't address it.
Didn't want to
didn't address it. And Jen brought the fact that he also had a peculiar eye injury.
See, that's why I thought you were going to lead with the shiner.
Yeah. Well, Jen stole my thunder.
That's where.
That was the story.
Thunder was stolen. Thunder was stolen. So I'm bringing that back.
And pinned that on X, I think. His kid.
Said that his son, presumably a lefty, a right shiner. But all very interesting stuff here. Yeah. Musk, yes, he did say that he's coming back to Tesla and SpaceX and X full time. But of course, today's report on that alleged drug use, the shiner on his face in the Oval Office, plus the sort of non-answer, non-denial of it all, really kind of is concerning. I mean, if you're a Tesla investor, Tesla analyst, a fan of the company, et cetera, you're kind of wondering what's going on here with Elon. Is he really sort of having some issues here, potentially, given the fact that he looked like he had an injury?
Do you think, Pras, that now that he's going back to work full time, right, and this is sort of the exit, do you think when he was with Trump, it was a very outspoken, hard-hitting Elon Musk, very political, no prisoners, and I don't know how many analysts we have talked to on the show saying, well, in their opinion, could that have done some brand damage? Maybe it won over some Republicans, but maybe it turned off some Democrats. I just wondered, do you think now that he's rotating out of government, right, he goes back to work, would you expect him to dial all that back down?
I think he's already doing that. The last few weeks, that when he sort of hinted at his return to his businesses, he did say that, or he did sort of tweet less about the political stuff, the social stuff, talking more about SpaceX, X.com, more about Tesla's sort of technology. Tweeted about the Model X yesterday. So we're seeing more about his return to his businesses. I think everyone would like to see that who is an investor in his companies. And I think that's already happening. But with Musk, you never know. He loves the drama, apparently, and he can always kind of come back into that role.
Pras, I just think you read through that New York Times article and you look at everything that's happening, and the theory, the rally in the stock realistically over the last month has been Musk is coming back, right? That's the key catalyst we've been talking about, And I'm just sitting here wondering, I get Elon the visionary. I totally get it. Doesn't it still feel like he has his mind in 7 different places, and we're still having the conversation like when he bought Twitter, where it's like, which one is he working at? He runs so many businesses that it's like, what is he literally doing at Tesla on a daily basis that is going to help the company tomorrow? And for me, I just feel like it's hard to picture at this point.
You know, he's always been the kind of guy that's had a lot of sort of hats to wear, right? He makes a joke about that, but he's been able to sort of, partition his time with SpaceX and with Boring Company and with Tesla, and still been highly functional. I think that there was concerns about him buying X, right, back in the back then, Twitter. Now you're seeing it to the point that if he just peels back from the political stuff, we'll accept his hats in different arenas with his companies. I think that's okay. I think the second big factor is the fact that the stock is up because of the fact that Austin's robotaxi testing begins next month, potentially as early as June 12th. He said they're actually already doing these limited tests. That's the big thing everyone wants to hear about. Want to hear more about that in probably next quarter earnings. That's the big holy grail for the company, unlocking potentially trillions in value, as some analysts have said, like Dan Ives, for instance.
Why are Tesla investors so forgiving of Elon Musk?
I mean, I would have to say it has to do with the fact that he's a visionary. They buy into his sort of reason of being. He took a private company and went into space. No other company's done that privately. Look at EVs. Before we had EVs that were bulbous and ugly and slow, he made them cool and fast and exciting. So I think that's all part of his this just sort of the vision of who he is and why he's so compelling as a character. And he is a little awkward, but he's also kind of charismatic too in his own way. So I think that's why we're seeing the retail investors still staying with the company. And there are some big professional money investors that are actually in the company too, and they haven't left yet. So.
And it's hard to think of another company, Pras, that is so connected to that CEO. I mean, Musk is Tesla. Tesla is Musk.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, and I think there is a deep bench at that company. It is a large company. There's a lot of people there that still work that are very talented, but I think Musk still drives the overall, what is Tesla? It's him, and that's what I think a lot of people want to see, is him back at the wheel, essentially, and back in Austin.
Pras, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.